Hey everybody, it's JMan105 here with you, and you might have noticed in the past I've created some DIY videos in terms of engineering small things that you may need when you're working on projects around the house. It's not always feasible to go buy something, especially at the prices you're going to pay at hardware stores or DIY stores. So I'm going to start posting videos of things I've built for purposes. I'll go over the materials or the pieces I used as well as the tools I used to construct them. This being my homemade soldering / wiring stand. I came up with this because sometimes I have trouble when I'm working on electronic projects soldering, and it's hard to clamp something or to hold something, and a similar stand in the store was $30 or $40. I didn't want to pay that. So what I did was I had an existing piece of 1 1/4 inch dowel that I cut to size. I will note that it's almost as tall as this ruler. So if you take off that bottom part where the ruler actually ends, it's about 15 centimeters tall. So 1 1/4 inch dowel. The one thing I did buy from the hardware store was this Iberville electrical box cover. It's just a blank cover for when they set in those giant electrical boxes. It'll only run you maybe $2 or $3 to buy this. I already had the dowel. The other things I used were alligator clips, and in case anyone's wondering, alligator clips are cheap. If you see them on sale, buy a bag of them and put them in a bin like I do. 2 alligator clips, some simple nuts and bolts depending on the size of the brackets, some L brackets. I always have a bin of those handy, 2 bins, and a T bracket. The T bracket I picked up for I think 89 cents at the time I built this, as well as a couple self-tapping Robertson screws number 2 that I drilled into the doweling. It's a very simple setup to make. In terms of tools, you will need a good screwdriver set with at least number 1 or 2 Robertson bits, which is, if you don't know what a Robertson bit is, this is more exclusive to Canada. It is the head that looks like a square. No, it's not called square head, it's called Robertson. Liquid nails, weld bond, or any construction adhesive, because that is how I fixed the dowel to the plate, and make sure the plate is cleaned with soap and water before you glue anything to it. But if you have a great adhesive, either of these two, or PL Premium even, that'll never come off. You will need an owl, in this case a long scratch owl, for starting the holes on the dowel. A pencil, an eraser, and a ruler to measure out what you need to do, where to mark it. To mark the holes, then you will use the scratch owl to start the hole, and then use your self-tapping screws. Nuts and bolts, it depends on the brackets you're using. These aren't very big, and I always have a bin of nuts and bolts here, so I just used from my own. You can get packages of nuts and bolts very cheaply. This whole thing, if I were to put a cost on it, less than $10 to make, based on everything I have here. So instead of paying $30 or $40, get the materials, engineer it for yourself.